Assalamu alaikum. I'm Malik Hodge, an angel warrior of the Midwest and a messenger of the covenant. Representing the messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, the self-taught one, Master Suleiman, who's given us the Injil, the gospel of revelations, with the Injil key that gives us the understanding of the unsealed scriptures. This is Up Late with Malik Hodge, nightly news report, where we take current events of the day and give you an understanding from the unsealed scriptures. So let us begin. Today is 7/22, 2022, July the 22nd, 2022, which is, if you're looking at it, 7 divided by 22 is 3.14, which is pi. And that's the 7 unsealed scriptures divided by the 22 chapters of Revelations, giving you 360 degrees of mind power. So let's get into our topics of the day. And let's start. I'm going to start with Israel. False Israel. False Israel. They're planning they have to make some decisions. Their government, they may have to go back to the polls in a few days. However, they have what they're calling the state, national security. They have to prepare and do something immediately, because Iran has shared that they have the technology and they have enriched uranium to 20% and 60% uranium. They have enriched uranium to 60%, and in a few days, in a short length of time, they can enrich uranium up to 90%, and they have the technology to build a nuclear bomb. So since Iran has shared that, false Israel has to prepare itself from what they're saying is Lebanon, Iranian proxies, Syria. They're really pressed up against the wall. they're uh, um, they're having government issues with leadership, and they have to they're so they have to um, be thinking on their national security most of all. And they had inside of Israel, they had a national Israeli settlement activist, what is it called? A religious Zionist party illegally setting up outposts in Judea and Samaria, and the which is part of the ex what's his name? It's part of the ex prime minister's governing group. However, they had 5 people put in the hospital and a few people put in jail. But what they're doing is setting up like they're going to and they said that this is they're extremely, they're saying that they have the right to take ownership, that this is a right, and they really think that they're taking they're stopping it now. But last year around this time they were walking in, was it last year or the year before, they were taking land in these areas and claiming land, and so they was outposts putting up tents sharing that this is theirs and they have the right to do this in these cities. So they're looking at the Abrahamic covenant, saying that they're the true seed of Abraham, so they can take what they want. That's the basis of where they're coming from. This Zionist party, because it's one of the governing parties that is that they represent. Then they had, that took place, but what stood out is they spoke on Palestinian children at a boys' school. Had a player or something, and they did a mock killing of Jews. So they, that hit home for them. They really took that and had a problem with that. They said they're stirring up what? Stirring up hate anti for anti-false Israelites, and they're stirring up a hate against them. So they, really pressed that this was a hate thing about these children at the school. But the thing that stood out is the political party stood up and had something to say that this Zionist party was right, that they had the right to do it, and they was right in doing that. They was right in trying to take, set up an outpost and take things, take land, and that this is their right. But when these children do this play, and they don't have the right, they look at it different when they see that, they're trying to get they're storing up rhetoric or hate crime, hate for false Israel. But it's not a hate crime. And only a few people went to jail out of this Israeli party, and a few went to the hospital. But you didn't see the confrontation that they had with they really was not compliant with the Israeli police. It's the same thing that the policing force are Israelis, are false Israel's police force. So the way they respond to the false Jews or false Israelites is far different than they respond when it's a Palestinian people, or they have to respond to them. So it's just something to see that from the angels' perspective, they should definitely know that the Palestinians is not going to forget what false Israel has been doing or treating them. And they're going to find out soon when soon and very soon, when the war begins in heaven. So let's get to our next let's go to our next topic. LA County makes mask mandates could return by the end of July. They've shared that it will be better if people could make the proper decisions in when to wear masks. However, they can't stand to take the chance, so that the governor or who has went on and made the decision that they will be wearing the mask mandate, will be coming in back um, indoor for indoor sporting, indoor food, restaurant visits. So the this new variant, the BA.5, is really affecting um, it's affecting California, and to the point that where this mask mandate is being brought back. So that's just in California, but the variant is, they're watching it closely because they're sharing that this variant is the BA.5 is very contagious, and that several states have recorded basically their recording of cases is going back up and putting stress on the medical system, the hospitals, because the hospitals are filling again with COVID patients. So you know, when the hospital has a lot of COVID patients, it like the prior times, it made it harder for other needs to be met, other illnesses, that it caused a problem of getting other things, other illnesses taken care of because of the demand for the amount of people that had COVID. So we're seeing this outbreak of COVID once again. Look for something on the president, Joe Biden, because he has COVID. Didn't see anything come out from the White House on that issue. However, it's definitely causing it's quality there. It's quality kept, but it's definitely bringing concern. Excuse me. It's bringing concern to the minds of the people once again, and it's just showing that this plague is still pressing, still hitting them. And they're still pushing. They've never stopped pushing the jabs, so they're still pushing the jabs, trying to um, give security of the jabs are working. They work against the plague, and they will keep you safe. However, with one, two jabs, several boosters, people are still contracting the plague. They're still finding themselves in the hospital with the plague. So, they're trying and speaking on different medicines that they're trying on. I've seen in the news. However, it just something to make sure you're paying attention to, because the areas, look at the, when you pay attention, look at the areas and or where the infections are. Look at the nations where the infections are. Look where they're still not speaking or talking about Africa. The continent is like untouched by the virus. Unless you're speaking about South Africa, but we know which group of people live there. So Haiti is basically still unscathed from the plague. However, still on the radio every day, listening, putting your ear to the ground, listening to what they're feeding the brothers and sisters, the black men and women, and the people in America, is that they're still offering the jab everywhere. They still have commercials telling you that, yeah, go get it. And they're still pushing this jab every day. And with the facts that's been given, with the fact that the brothers and sisters shouldn't be taking anything. This is a Passover. It's been passing you over. It's passing over a whole continent of your brothers and sisters that had the same DNA as you. A whole nother on other continents is passing the people with the same DNA as you over. Wuhan shared it in the beginning of the plague that the black nurses and doctors wasn't contracting it, and they were working hands on with the ones that had contracted it, had the virus full blown, and the other doctors that were working hands on ended up contracting it. Some even died from contracting it from other patients. However, they shared that the black men and women, nurses and doctors, was like they were, like it didn't affect it, like they was immune to it. So I also put out a video where they said in America, I presume that's where the video came out at. They were saying that they couldn't understand why the poor countries were not being affected, but it was only the wealthy and highly sophisticated nations that were being affected by the plague, and they couldn't understand why. So, do note that the plague is still moving, and take note in why this is the first sign. This plague was a sign that started at the end of the 400-year period of the black man and woman it being in the Holocaust, afflicted in America. This was the end of the 1619 project, was 2019. And after that 400 years, the plague that will kill the firstborn immediately kicked into mode, to let you know where we are at in time. So let's move on to our next topic. 94 million Americans are suffering in this extreme heat wave that is going across the country and also across the world. Some of the big this is a topic that is being spoke on again and again. They said out of 21 days, 19 of them was 100 degrees and over in several U.S. cities. Starting with Arlington, Texas. So they said that this is a heat wave going through America. That from the Midwest to the Northeast, this weekend of the 17th, this weekend from today, the 22nd, is expected to see temperatures well into the 90s and the index for over 100 degrees. In Boston, from Boston to let's say New York, Boston to Connecticut, the whole northeast corner, pretty much, they're going to be looking at 100 degrees this weekend. So, what's staying in the forefront of the country is extreme heat. Extreme heat. Causing fires, drought, and they share that outdoor workers like postmen, UPS truck drivers, they got those little fans and people that work outside. He said them people is really, being hit, and it's hot. Definitely is. Being out there cutting grass for about 3 hours, and it definitely will suck You know, if your body ain't made for heat, you can't handle heat, then it definitely will can take you down. Black you out or kill you. A lot of people, if they structure and they mind ain't, you know, um, can't handle heat. It's a season where why so many people are dying is they were overheating their brain. Their brains overheat. They have heat strokes and fall dead just because they brain can't produce enough oxygen and air in it. They stroke out from the brain overheating. So just something that continuously finding itself in the headlines of the news. The heat that is plaguing throughout the world. It's not just in America. Throughout the world, several people, into the thousands, have died from complications with the heat, and there's been several things that the heat has caused, flat, like being so dry that flash floods pop up because the ground can handle a mass rain, and it's not going to. It's been so dry the ground won't. The water just rolls over it fast without sucking it up. So that's something that keeps coming up. And what's our next topic? Okay. They say beacon of hope. A beacon of hope in Russia and the Ukraine war. The beacon of hope is that Russia and Ukraine has came to an agreement, not between each other's, but they have came into agreement to lift the blockade of grains that has been blocked into in Ukraine, that hasn't been able to be moved. It's tons, millions of tons, that because it's affecting and causing starvation in many parts of the world. And it's still, they're saying that it's still going to be a couple of weeks to even make anything happen. But in the meantime, a situation is still brewing to where they can bring. They're still making a problem of forcing, Russia to keep making adjustments, be harsher, because this is in the same breath, in the same report of Russia and Ukraine making an agreement to get the grains to people that are starving. However, in that same report, they shared that the White House has confirmed the Pentagon is making preliminary explain by potentially sending fighter airplanes to Ukraine. Something that has never happened there. Well, no. However, they are in a preliminary state of providing. They're potentially going to provide Ukraine with fighter jets. So that will, and they said that will change Russia's thinking on many things if that takes place. So, in even hearing that, what would, you see Russia's trying to allow grains out. They shelled, they shelled the hell out of this city. They bombed this city that America and other NATO countries were sending weapons in, stockpiling. So they shelled this area, they shelled the hell out of this city. They're pulling this city, they're pulling that the city they're pulling bodies out of the rebel now. Like, they really shelled this city because they knew where this area was. So they bombed, they seriously hit the city up. Now, they haven't did what they could do to many cities, many spots in this country. They've been taking it easy, not even going. They said that they haven't even begun for real to carry out the type of destruction that they can put on Ukraine. Now, they're targeting this bridge that goes through from Crimea to Russia. This is this 11-mile new bridge that they've built. Now, America is talking about they're going to send military airplanes, fighter jets to Ukraine. And after that, they just share that it can bring a big change in Russia's decision. You did. If what that don't even make sense. What do you think it's gonna do? You damn right it's gonna make a big change. Brothers and sisters, they shared. It's been shared that if you're trying to bring a war to an end, if that was the case, if you're looking at a way to pulling back on the altercation level, they call this a beacon of hope. A beacon of hope. This releasing the blockade on Russia, releasing this blockade on Ukraine's grains that is affecting different parts of the world because they're dependent on this grain. And in the same story, you're talking about this beacon of hope, and then you in the next sentence talking about the White House has said the Pentagon has had a preliminary decision to provide, to potentially send and provide the Ukraine with fighter jets, and that it may change. What? It may change. Man, the things that they try to throw up in your face and act, you damn right it's gonna bring a change in any action. But they're trying to say that this is a beacon of light, but with fighter jets being brought in, America sending fighter jets into Ukraine. They just blew up. They just shelled the hell out of this city for weapons coming in. Now they want to send fighter jets, and they're acting like they want to bring this war, cause a pullback on this war or a ceasefire. Make sense out of what's happening in your face. However, Russia shared that America is out to get an all-out war against EU and Russia. America is pushing for war. And if the Pentagon is trying to send fighter planes to the Ukraine, what else? What's going to be on the planes? What kind of shells? What kind of bomb? What? You understand? So you're speaking about a beacon of light. What's going to happen when you try to deliver these planes? How is the response going to be? Look at the city that just got pulverized, bombed. They bombed the hell. If you look at it, they got pictures of it. They're like the pictures are devastating. They say pulling the name of the city. I forget the name of the city, but pulling bodies out of the rubble. I mean, city bombed. Look, if you ever seen a a, a, a car, a junkyard where they smash the cars and sit them in little blocks, and it's just a whole lot of smashed looking cars that look like cans, and they just smashed at the pulverizer. That's what the city looked like bricks, and just it's hit. They bombed it, and they working on a plan to get food to listening to this. It just is pathetic to even think that this is going to work out. They said it's a beacon of light, but it's going to take 2 weeks to even work out or get it, and that to work out any the details to make it happen. They have agreed on it, but it may change due to America sending these fighter planes. Oh, brothers and sisters, the things that they do in your face, and in your eyes, right in front of you, and try to con you to believe that they're helping or assisting. Versus they're causing, they're building, they're making, they're pushing, supplying, they're causing this war. They're fueling the fire. They're fueling the war. And Russia shared that that's what's taking place. That's what's going to take place. The angels shared that they're already America is already at war with Russia. They're already at war. They're just not the ones fighting at this time. So it's a good thing, because that Injil, the Gospel of Revelation, that 22 chapters, that 7 seals divided by 22 chapters give you that 3.14, and that 360 degrees, that radius of a circle, that 360 degrees of mind power. This, the way their actions. Look at their actions. They're causing. They're pushing. Look at what's taking place in false Israel. A governing Zionist, a religious Zionist part, the religious Zionist party. Is setting up outposts with tents. And then They say, yeah, we can do this. They got a right. Didn't stand it. Yeah, they got a right to do this. We can do. This is our right. You know, I mean, this is. They took this land from the Palestinians, and then they said, we can do whatever we want to do. We got the right to take this land. And then you got the children in a play doing a mock play of killing a false Jew. And they're causing what is it? They're causing a hate of false Jews, and it's a problem. It's a problem. They're causing hate, terror acts, false Jews. At the same time, we can set out outposts, but they said the outpost is now illegal. But this is the things you have to look at, brothers and sisters. We know what's going to take place from the Indian perspective. With the extreme temperatures, causing drought, problems with the agriculture, there's it's a shortage in a shortage in the amount of things grown. Slipping my mind. Have it's a shortage because of the sun. The the products have been what is it, the word I'm looking for, the wheat, the grains, the overall things grown in the form, the agriculture is being hit hard due to the heat, you know. So what we're seeing is what the angel shared was going to happen. It's going to be a shortage. Not only has it been heat, that if you're paying attention, it's also been someone going around burning down food manufacturing plants all around America. They haven't blasted this out. This should have been blasted out. But they're keeping it on the low because they really, they don't know who's doing it. So when you're looking at what's going around, they're not telling you that as easy as America is trying to push and set up, and they're pushing this war and fueling it, they have, you don't know if it's China, Russia, what type of who's spies or military people that are in the country and causing these fires and doing things to the infrastructure in America, which they're not going to let you know that someone's inside and capable of destroying whole plants and causing food shortages and things that can immediately happen here. They're not going to warn you. They're not going to warn you that even just coming, they show you that even just they're able to come off and under the border with pretty much they can get whatever they want in the country because so many people are being allowed in this country. So they're not sharing this with you. However, the overall thing that the NGO shares that look, famine, food shortages, these things will happen like overnight. It's going to be like instantly take place. And you can see all over the world this shortage of grains is putting pressure and food shortages in many parts of the world. So trying to put this balancing act and put their shelves empty in parts of America and has been for months. Certain things are not on the shelf. Certain things that people want to eat, they're short. And no, in certain parts, yes, you have availability. Then it's other parts that have less availability and prices are skyrocketing. Yes, they have cut back on gas prices. But if you look into the gas situation, don't be fooled. The gas, yes, the gas prices went up. But go back into the initial gas when the gas went up. The prices, go look, did the prices really go up that much for the producer or the ones that had the gas? Or was the prices just shot up for the consumers? The price of a barrel, because they show you, yes, they started charging China and certain people more for gas, oil per barrel, but they also showed you how much other people, America and they lowered it for European nations on certain oil. But what do you say? Now they're saying that they have cut the tax margins off of the gas prices, so that's what's causing the gas prices to go down. So what they're saying is the state tax, the government tax. So they stopped taking their big cuts and they're letting you go on and get cheaper gas. When gas went from 2 something in certain areas up into $5 a gallon, and in certain areas $7, $6 and $7 a gallon. So yes, with a leap like that for half of the year, yeah, you can cut back and give a little something back. It don't take a rocket science. We can't keep our, we can pull back a little bit on our earnings. They didn't triple doubled. They didn't hit a triple double on the prices. So winding this up. Ooh, winding it up and winding it up quick. We can see where we are. False Israel, they have to make their move quick. The plague is still surging. They haven't got away from that. And you can see where they are with this. How is it going to easily be a shortage in food and products inside of no time. And with that, the abomination of desolation, the shock of the hour, is the time that we're in, which is Michael and his angels, Master Farad Muhammad, and Iran and Syria will go to war with the dragon and his angels. The House of Saudi Arabia, Britain and America, false Israel, and those that have made their alliance, these Sunni countries, these 6 Sunni countries that have aligned with Satan and the devil. Well, they're going to be taking out Saudi, and America and Britain is going to be kicked out the Middle East. False Israel is going to be sieged, then taken, then destroyed, and that will be the shock of the hour, which the whole world will be unmasked, unblocked, and we'll see who the true seed of Abraham really is. And with that, I'm going to bring this segment of Up Late with Malik Hodge to a close. And I'm going to greet you as I came in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.